So this week on My Plug Life, I'm just wrapping off the week now. It was Drive Electric Week. There's a lot of groups out there doing electric vehicles, but unfortunately, we're not really set up to deal with that kind of a situation of meeting people in person still. So I volunteered my time helping out with Generation 180, which is a nonprofit organization down in the United States. They're looking to inspire and equip people to take action on clean energy. So they're talking about clean energy as a whole, but the part I took part was where people would go onto Zoom and they'd ask questions of EV owners, looking to find out some information about helping them out to make their decision on making that transition. So that was a lot of fun. They have a lot of other events, like they had some stuff with buses and solar and all that kind of stuff. So it was a pretty full week for them. Now, in Sweden, speaking of that, pure fossil fuel vehicles are actually less than 50% in the month of September. So that's a big change. They've kind of getting over that hump. They're really pushing for electric, which is good to see. Now, that includes cars sold in September, and this is battery electric and plug-in hybrids all put together. So they're getting pretty close to making that sustainable. Hopefully by the end of the year, it'll be 50% from then on. So that's good to see. Now, combined plug-in hybrids and battery electric vehicles in the United States have just passed 1.6 million sold in the States, which is a good number, but that still needs to be brought up. So comparison-wise, in Sweden versus the United States, it's completely different. But hopefully they're pushing towards that in the States because we have a lot more models now, a lot more opportunity for people to buy, and a lot more choices. So the Tesla also released their quarter three of their deliveries this quarter, and they did 140,000 deliveries, which is huge, and that's compared to the rest of the market, which all the other manufacturers are selling less vehicles right now. So it's really good to see that they have this vast improvement that they're doing. And another thing about Tesla, now I haven't noticed this before, but lately I've noticed that people are talking about the next update. Typically, we would be surprised at what the next update would be with a Tesla. You just go down in the morning, you get an update, you install it, and you see what you get. It's a bit of a surprise. But somehow maybe information is being leaked. Maybe people are trying to hype this up a little bit, which is maybe good. Maybe we can look forward to an update coming, which would be interesting. But from what I've seen, the next update is supposed to be 2020.40.0.4. Now, this addresses a few things that they want to do. The big one, though, is in Canada, we don't have it, but in the United States, they have this speed limit sign recognition where they can see the speed limit on the road, and they would actually change the speed limit of your car based off of that. Now, in California, it was apparently working no problem, but in other states, it was having a bit of an issue. Maybe the signage was slightly a different size or shape or something. So they look like they've come to a way to fix this issue. So in this next update, it's going to hopefully bring it back to working everywhere, which would be great. Now, hopefully, if they're confident enough, that's bringing it into Canada on that update as well. So we'll be able to see that, which is great. I'm looking forward to that. The other thing they're doing is they're adding priority Bluetooth. That is, if you have, say, two people coming up to the vehicle at the same time, it's going to pick the priority one in order to set the seat profile and music or whatever for the vehicle, which is nice. When me and my wife get in the car, I don't like sitting down and having to change the profile because she got there first. Now, they're also adding a PIN number to the glove box, which I guess is good if you want to lock the glove box. Of course, if you use valet mode, it does the same thing. There's actually no PIN number. It's just locked, period. So I guess adding a glove box pin stops your kids from going in there or something like that. Now, on the Model Y, and hopefully soon, if not already in the Model 3, they have a charge port that's heated. So they're going to have an option for you to be able to turn that on or off on the phone. Now, this heated charge port is something that we really haven't seen used yet. Apparently the hardware is there. It's just waiting for the software, which looks to be addressed on this one. Now, looking to the future, people were asking about a bird's eye view for a long time, the ability to see all around the car with the cameras. And Elon mentioned that he's going to have vector space bird's eye view. Now, I don't think that this means exactly what people think. I don't think it's going to be stitched cameras all around the car. I think there's a good chance that what he's meaning is that you'll be able to see a bird's eye view of the car where what the car sees. So it'll see bumps and lines on the roads or curves or whatever. Now, I've seen this show up on the app occasionally when I'm using Summon. I don't know why and how it popped up. Maybe it was a bug. but it would show that kind of a situation around your car and how it's navigating. So maybe that's what he's talking about. Either way, it'll be good to see what objects are around the vehicle. And he mentioned this is going to be on full self-driving. I don't know if this will be tied to full self-driving for sure, but it might be coming out on the full self-driving packaged vehicles because it needs hardware 3, or maybe it's because that's a good way to test it before pushing it out to everybody. And speaking of full self-driving, he's still talking about this full self-driving rewrite in which he's stitched together the cameras in a 4D type landscape, to make it so that way all the cameras are able to see all the space around the vehicle in real time, as opposed to now, which is just a series of images. So that's supposed to dramatically improve the abilities of full self-driving. But he's talking about in about a month or so, he's going to have a sort of like a closed beta testing of this, like a small group of people, or maybe just certain people in certain areas. So he's going to be pushing that out, and we'll see how that works out. But that's just going to be like an autopilot change to start with. Now, maybe this might turn out to be something like the street signs, where it took a little while for them to work out the bugs before coming to Canada. So I wouldn't expect that to be right away. If he said about a month for this beta, maybe I'd expect the beta in Canada in the next 6 months, because I'm sure there's so many differences in between the States and Canada that they can't just transfer it over. It's not that simple. And moving on a little bit more Tesla news, Battery Day. Of course, they had all their stuff they were talking about there, but rumor is they're buying a German battery assembly line maker. So if they're going to be making this new battery styles that they've been talking about, they really do need people that know what they're doing. You can't just hire anybody on the street and teach them, because that's going to take far too long. A full crew of this would be crazy. So they're buying this, rumor there's going to be buying this manufacturer to come in, so that way they have, say, 200 people that already know how to do this thing, which is really going to help them push into this. If they have this timeline out of a year to a year and a half to really be into mass production of this new battery, they need to get started now, if not already, and hopefully they have already. Now, this manufacturer line is also going to make their cheaper car, their $25,000 new model that they're going to make. Now, this new model, this is a big deal because the price is so much different. There's going to be a lot more people buying this vehicle. And the other manufacturers that are making electric vehicles are really going to have to think twice. Because up until now, Tesla had been a luxury, cheaper luxury model vehicle with the Model 3 and the Model Y. But a $25,000 is more in line with your Civics and stuff like that. So now this is going to be making all these people that are also making luxury vehicles that are electric second guess, do they keep the price, or do they lower the price, or do they make a cheaper model, or how are they going to handle this issue? Especially if this cheaper model, $25,000 model, has a 200 or 300 mile range, like 400 kilometer range vehicle. That's big, and batteries are one of the most expensive parts of the vehicle. So for them to bring the price down 50%, like they're saying, that's really going to push the market to innovate faster. And hopefully they've taken a few cues with what Tesla said in Battery Day, and hopefully they integrate that into their plans. So with these cheaper vehicles, with these electric vehicles that are going to be coming out, some of us at this day may be looking to buy a cheaper electric vehicle. And unfortunately, we're having a hard time in some areas of Canada. Now, that's a situation that's happened in the States as well. Whereas the States has a overall US incentive, just like Canada does, but certain places have an extra incentive to make it a little bit cheaper. Like we have some provinces here in Canada that have a better incentive on top of that. So you could double dip basically into this. It's a little worse in the States though, because in some of the states, they have a zero emission mandate that require certain manufacturers to sell a certain number of battery electric vehicles or plug-in hybrids. And that number is increasing over time. In Canada, we have a little bit of that. In BC, luckily we do. So that's going to shuffle all the cars from Alberta, Saskatchewan over to us, maybe some to Ontario or Quebec, because Quebec is a really big market. So a lot is getting shuffled over there. Because their incentives are a little bit higher, and because they're being forced to adopt electric vehicles a bit more, any of those other provinces are really going to have a hard time. And but with hopefully more electric cars on the road, we'll be having more opportunities to buy them. So that kind of wraps up what's been going on in the last week for me, and I guess I'll see you guys on the next one on My Plug of Life.